The voice of sharing, Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Gowri. You're listening to Durian ASEAN on a beautiful Monday morning. So you guys should let me know how was your weekends. You can tweet me on twitter.com stroke Durian ASEAN, or you can also let us know on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com and Durian ASEAN. So apart from that, of course, you can also listen to us on our YouTube channel. We upload 2 new videos every day for your viewing pleasure, and also the podcast from our shows every day. And before I move on to the news this morning, just want to go through a couple of other important headlines around the world, which, of course, the hottest news right now is about the Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, which was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur and was shot down allegedly in eastern Ukraine, killing all 298 people on board. Apart from that, we also have the Israel ground invasion on the Gaza Strip. We have militant attacks at 2 checkpoints in the Chambi Mountains, Tunisia, killing 14 soldiers. And also in other news, Typhoon Ramasun causes at least 40 deaths in the Philippines. And a train derails on the Moscow metro, killing at least 23 people and injuring at least 160 others. And apart from that, the Church of England votes to allow women to be ordained as bishops. That's pretty interesting. So going back in history, a couple of interesting facts for you guys this morning. In 1807, French brothers Claude and Nicephore Niepce received a patent from their Pirelli for one of the world's first internal combustion engines. In 1940, the Arroyo Seco Parkway, one of the first freeways built in the United States, opened to traffic connecting downtown Los Angeles with Pasadena, California. And in 1999, the Chinese government began a persecution campaign against Falun Gong, arresting thousands nationwide. And also, did you know that the Ventilback, which is a material made from carbon nanotubes, is the blackest substance known? And also, the mighty Cassie was the first woman to reach the finals in the American Ninja Warrior. So moving on to our news today from all over Southeast Asia, and of course we're gonna start with some news from Malaysia itself. And what I have today is uh, an issue regarding the cabbies wanting an approved for fare hike in Penang, and they have spoken to the SPAD, and they're awaiting a reply. SPAD is the Land Public Transport Commission, to look into their proposal for an increase in fares and other complaints. And this was done by the Penang Taxi Association, which is an umbrella of body representing taxi drivers and hired cars. The PTA president Abdul Malik Darus said among the proposals was for an increase of 115 per kilometer to 150 per kilometer for budget taxis. And he also said that the PTA will help to seek the state government to assist in the matter of SPAD was not forthcoming. If they will not listen to us, then there will be a big protest, he said. And in his speech earlier, Lim Guan Eng, of course, urged SPAD to quickly come to a decision over the meter rates. The rate should be fair for both the public and the drivers to achieve a win-win situation. And this taxi price is another issue that has been long debated in this country. The price, how some of them are not using the meters while when someone hails for a cab. As we all know, they are supposed to be using the meters, which starts at 3 ringgit, which starts at 3 ringgit, but that only happens during in the morning, or probably at the evening, but not during the peak hours though. And usually during the peak hours they do not use the meter, and they can charge nearly any amount they like to their potential client, and there have been a lot of complaints regarding this matter. A lot of people have lodged complaints, especially tourists who are in the country, about how the price can be really unreasonable at times, and how they charge a bomb, and it's very unethical in a way as well. And that is both in KL and Penang. I'm not too sure about the other states, and this has been the leaders from each state have been trying to address this issue, trying to come up with a solution for this problem. There are toll lines that you can call to complain, but none of it seems to be effective. They are still charging a bomb, and they don't even stop for you at times during the peak hours. Uh, just the other day, a friend of mine was waiting at Bangsar LRT for about 2 hours, and no cab wanted to stop because the whole area was jammed. And if they did stop, the price was crazy expensive that you just rather not take a cab. So, and it seems that now they want to have a hike in the fares in the taxi, and we'll have to see how that one goes. And hopefully the rate is doesn't get too high and burden the people. And with that, still in Malaysia, we have a woman, apparently a Korean woman who wore a dress with printed Quranic verses. And this case is currently being probed by the police, and they are investigating this woman who was seen in a supermarket in Ampang. And a photograph of her went pretty viral on Facebook, and this was reported by The Sun. And Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Khalid Abu Bakar said action would of course be taken in accordance to the law. And he also said that the woman who arrived in Malaysia recently was believed to have bought the dress during a visit to India. And meanwhile, Ampang Jaya Police Chief ACP Karuldin Saad, who confirmed the case, said a police report was lodged soon after the woman's photograph appeared on Facebook. We lodged a report ourselves because no civilian came forward to do so, and an investigation is in progress, he told Bernama. He also said that the case was being investigated under Section 298A1 of the Penal Code, which provides maximum jail term for 5 years upon conviction. So I don't know what the motive of this woman is, that she walks around wearing a Quranic verse, especially in Malaysia, when you are in a country that is a majority Muslim, and also Islam is the official religion of this country. And you would expect her to be a little more sensitive than that, than to walk around in a dress with Quranic verses. It's not just Quranic verses. Even when you wear like the flag of a country, it can be pretty sensitive. There was once a case of a supermodel who was dressed in nothing but just draped her nude body in an American flag, and that drew quite an outrage as well. And I would, of course, assume that it would be more sensitive now that she's walking around in a dress printed with Quranic verses. And the police are investigating the case. I hope they don't be too hard on her, because she's probably not local, and she's not familiar with how things work here and the culture, and how probably how sensitive we are with certain issues. So they should probably let her off with a warning first, and if she does it again, then they can of course charge her under the Section 298A of the Penal Code, and put her under 5 years of maximum jail. But for now, they should definitely try to have a word with her first, and try to talk things out and explain to her why this is unacceptable in this country, and let her off. Moving on to Penang now, we have Penang is actually introducing a smart application for public transport traffic, which is called the PITTS, or I guess you can just call it the PITS. The Penang government will introduce a mobile phone application for public transport and traffic in the state by year end. Chief Minister Lim Guan Eng said that the smart application called PITS, which stands for Penang Intelligent Traffic and Transport System, would integrate the traffic system with public transportation, namely buses and taxis. This service will facilitate the public knowing about locations of the buses and taxis to obtain their services. With this application, it will also be easier and faster for the taxi drivers to get to customers. This is somewhat similar to the My Taxi app that we have right now, which enables you to know where the taxis are, how many taxis are there even around your vicinity in your area, and it makes it very, very easy actually to hail a taxi these days with the My Taxi app. You can just, for those of you who don't know, you can just insert your location and where do you want to go, and immediately you can see all the taxis that's around your place, how many taxis, and if the taxi is willing to come and get you, there's a green light, or if the taxi declines your offer, you get a rate notification. And I think that this move by the Penang government will be a lot similar to that, which will, of course, be very, very helpful for the people of Penang. And this should probably be implemented in KL as well. Uh, Apart from KL, KL is of course notorious for its massive traffic jam, of course, especially after office hours, even during lunch hours, and in the morning even. It's very rare that you go out and there's no jam. And Penang is actually kind of catching up. It's definitely not a good thing, but they are catching up. It is getting really, really congested in Penang as well. And a lot of people would love to take the public transportation, but there are a lot of limitations like the timing. It is pretty unreliable, and you don't know where the bus is, you don't know where the taxis are, especially with the bus, because you probably get one bus in like an half an hour, or probably you even have one bus for like an hour. I remember that happened to me once. And with this new app now, they would be able to know where the buses are, where the taxis are, and with hopefully a lot more people will resort to taking the public transport, and that will further reduce the amount of traffic on the roads, and for it helps for a smoother traffic flow as well. We are moving on to Myanmar now, with a false rape claim behind latest religious clashes in Myanmar. So Myanmar's latest religious clashes began after a Buddhist woman was paid to make false rape claims against two Muslim brothers, state media reported Sunday. And two men, a Buddhist and a Muslim, died in riots in the country's second city, Mandalay, that flared on July 1st, following social media reports that the Muslim man had raped a Buddhist employee at their tea shop. But after a detailed investigation, she confessed that she accused the two men because she was paid to do so by two other people who had a personal dispute with tea shop owners. And the woman has been arrested alongside one of those people alleged to have paid her, the report said. The unrest, which saw a curfew imposed on security forces, moved in to disperse angry mobs. Again, spotlighted the incendiary nature of relations between Myanmar's Buddhist and the Muslim minority. As we all know, there is a major clash going on in Myanmar between the Rohingya Muslims and the Buddhist Rakhines, and things have been going pretty bad, and they have been at war. They have been trying to get the Rohingya Muslims out of the country. A lot of them have resorted to become refugees in other countries, and things are going really bad for them. And they are hoping to achieve a reform in their elections next year, the 2015 elections. And I definitely hope that they are able to sort things out soon. And the unrest there is getting probably getting worse day by day, and I don't know if they will be able to get the reform that they are hoping to achieve, but uh, definitely all the best to Myanmar, and hope they will achieve their democracy And moving on to Russia, and this goes back to the downed flight MH17, where U.S. believes that Russia gave rebels missiles that downed flight MH17. So the United States believes that Moscow provided Ukrainian rebels with the missile launchers that downed the Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 and moved them back into Russia after it was hit, a U.S. newspaper reported late Saturday. The Post said Vitaly Naida, who is Ukraine's counterintelligence chief, had photographs and related evidence that three Buk M1, Buk M1 is the anti-aircraft missile system that is said to have hit the plane. And according to the news, it was moved from the rebel-held territory into Russia early Friday, less than 12 hours after the plane was downed. We do believe they were trying to move back into Russia at least three Buk, the missile launch systems. And Kiev has accused Moscow militias of using a Russian-supplied Buk system to down the jet after confusing it with a Ukrainian military transporter. And also, according to NIDA, two anti-aircraft systems were spotted entering Russia at 2 a.m. on Friday, one with its full complement of four missiles, but the other apparently missing a missile. So Ukraine is actually blaming Russia for what happened, and whereas Russia, of course, is not. No one is taking blame for this incident. Ukraine is blaming Russia, that Russia of helping the militias to hide and destroy the key evidence that could prove the alleged involvement, whereas Russia is blaming Ukraine, and also the pro-separatists in Ukraine are also being blamed for this matter. And so far, no one has taken responsibility yet. And but of course, the Malaysian government have been trying to have dialogues with Ukraine and Russia, trying to find out what really happened, so they can inform the families in Malaysia. It is a very, very tragic incident, and we have barely recovered from MH370, which happened. And when I heard about the MH17, I was really hoping it was just a rumor, a gossip, or something that somebody made up just to stir things up a little bit. But sadly, it's true, it happened, and the fact that it was a mistake made it even more tragic in that sense. To to lose, well, to lose over 200 people to a mistake that was made by another country. And it seems that things are heating up between United States and Russia, and Malaysia is kind of caught in the middle, being the victim. And we'll actually have a more thorough discussion later in our ABC dialogue, where we try to analyze the relationship between Russia and Ukraine, and the history of the war, and how far along it goes back. But for now, of course, our I will hope that we'll find out what really happened, who really shot down the plane, and if Russia did it, then they're gonna have to pay, or if Ukraine did it, they will have to pay as well for the loss of more than 200 people who were killed in that tragic incident. And it became another mourning day from Malaysia, and there were a lot of family members were in the airport crying, and a lot of them were being interviewed as well. And it is really, really sad, and I really hope that this matter gets sorted out soon. And moving on to the typhoon Ramasun in the China and the Philippines, which kills more than 100 people. So the strongest typhoon to hit southern China in 4 decades has at least killed 16 people in the region, after leaving scores dead in the Philippines. And strong winds and rain from Super Typhoon Ramasun hits dozens of southern coastal cities in the provinces of Guangdong and Hainan, and the region of Guangxi, affecting more than 3 million people, the Chinese state news agency Xinhua reported on Saturday. The powerful storm made landfall on the island province of Hainan about 1:30 p.m. Friday after veering west, according to China's Meteorological Administration. And also, the Ramasun struck the Philippines earlier in the week, killing at least 94 people and displacing more than a half million, according to the country's National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Most of the victims died after being hit by falling trees, collapsed structures, or flying debris. Others drowned or were killed in landslides, according to the Philippines news agency. This typhoon is known as Glenda, made landfall near Legazpi City on the country's east coast late Tuesday and barreled past capital Manila. So this is a very bad storm that has hit China and Philippines. Hopefully, the evacuation process is smooth and the people will get back to their feet soon enough. And moving on to Indonesia now. There's been news about how these these two presidential candidates are so adamant about winning the elections, and neither of them said that they would accept the result. So the likely loser in the Indonesia presidential election is actually saying that they will not accept the result yet. So if Jokowi wins, Prabowo is going to ask for a re-election apparently, or if Prabowo wins, Jokowi will resort to doing the same thing. And I have an article here by Reuters.com where they say the Indonesian ex-general, widely thought to have narrowly lost this month bitterly contested presidential election, will not accept the official result until allegations of cheating are investigated. The rejection is certain to raise concerns of a protracted wrangle that could undermine confidence in Southeast Asia's biggest economy or even trigger violence that has so far been entirely absent from this election. After Prabowo Subianto's camp previously insisted that it would abide by the KPU's official result of the July 9 election, it suddenly accused it of failing to properly investigate alleged cheating at the polls. So in another news, of course, according to the Washington Post, they are urging Indonesia's would-be president to accept the voters' decisions because the people went out, they cast their vote, they have made their decision, and whoever is victorious in these elections will accept their victory, and whoever loses the election will have to accept their fate and accept that the people don't want them, or the people are not ready, or they probably want a different kind of administration that they have gone with the other candidate. And so far it seems that they have had some reliable quick counts which showed Joko Widodo, who is edging out Prabowo Subianto by 4 to 6 percentage points, while Mr. Prabowo has also said that it's okay if there are claims and declarations of victory by others, but they are not based on the election law. So to help these responsibilities, Mr. Prabowo and Mr. Joko both must accept the official election result, and neither has much reason to challenge the outcome in the Constitutional Court, which would pointlessly continue the nation's agonizing wait. And that is right. I have spoken to someone from Indonesia last week, and they are waiting for this new era to start in Indonesia, and they have been waiting for so long. They're ready for this moment, and all the best to them. Hopefully, whoever the winner is accepts his victory, and the probably the one who doesn't win accepts the decision of the people and try harder in the next elections. And that's all the time that I have for news this morning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channels. And if you want weekly updates on our topics and speakers, you can send us an email at duranasean@gmail.com. And this is Gowri. I'll be back in a bit with you for our Blast from the Grassroots session. And to all the MH17 family members of the passengers, our thoughts and prayers from Duran ASEAN is always with you. We're thinking of you. Stay strong in these hard times. As the saying goes, tough times don't last, but tough people do.